I want to start by thanking my wonderful wife, Diana, and my entire family, as well as the voters in my district. As everyone knows that has had the privilege of being in the position that I've enjoyed the last 6 years, family support is essential, and I've been blessed with the best family a man could ever wish for. Diana's constant support and effervescent smile has gotten me through many tough elections and tough votes. I want to thank Chief Dixon and the sergeants for their protection. I still remember during orientation when someone asked the chief if he'd take a bullet for us. He answered with the tone and the smile we've all come to appreciate. He goes, "No, sir, but I'll shoot the guy that pulls the trigger." Thankfully, we all had to witness was a few unruly protesters, Santana and Nathan practicing their MMA moves, and a shower of fake money coming down on me from the gallery up above. I also want to thank the clerks, the lawyers, and the many others that keep this institution running. Professional is the best word that can describe your efforts. I mean that with the most sincere and appreciative manner. You go unsung, but we here notice your work, and we couldn't do ours without you. When I decided to run for state representative, I was the ultimate outsider. I had never been part of the political process, not class president or even class clown. In fact, I had never been to Lansing. I had to look on the internet to figure out who my elected official was. As a freshman, I thought my office would be in the basement of the Capitol next to the furnace. Heck, I was ready to buy a red stapler and joke about it just to see if anyone would notice me. I came because Diana asked me to turn the state around so our boys would stay here in Michigan. You see, I've been married 30 years now, and when someone so special asks you to do something so meaningful, you take it seriously, you focus, and you try to accomplish the task. I was cynical when I got here and not all comfortable with everyone calling me state representative. It took me a while to realize they just didn't know my name. I was a nobody, and I'm okay with that, for I was on a mission. To that point, I apologize for the many feathers I've ruffled along the way. But my wife told me to turn Michigan around, and no one was going to stop me from helping get that goal. Looking back on the part I played with PA 312 reform, PPT reform, MBT elimination, and the road funding, I'm glad I was here to play my role. 6 years have passed, and I'm slightly less cynical. I have learned a lot, and if I have your indulgence, I'd like to mention a few of the things that I've learned. I learned that quality staff are important to success. Policy side staff like Brian Brandenburg, Matt Carnegie, and Allison Mattice have made me seem far smarter than I actually am. When you're just a pretty face in the office like I am, you need intelligence and diligence like them to help you along the way. I learned from my good friend Ben Glarden to read only gender-neutral magazines on the House floor. I learned from Mike Shirkey that it's better to improve legislation than to always try to stop it. It's important to remember that we got sent here to govern, not to figure out how to win our next election. I learned from Ken Kurtz that a smile and a soft laugh can lighten a room just as a bad joke from Ken Yonker or a good song from Mike Colton are needed in a caucus that's often too serious for the day's issues. I learned to appreciate good friends like Tony Ferlini, Brad Jacobson, Lisa Lyons, and many more. More so, I learned from Lisa that shoes are optional, from Tony not to diss his friends, and from Brad that Santa really does exist. I learned friends can come from both sides of the aisle, and I'm proud to call people like Harold Hall, Rudy Hobbs, and Paul Clemente my friends. I'd like to say I'd learned to be a statesman and be as classy as David Rutledge, but I'm not going to lie, it's not even close. I was reminded that life is too short. As I attended funerals of coworkers for spouses, children, parents, and our good friends that worked here on the House floor. Peter, I'll miss you, buddy. I learned more about leadership watching Jace Bolger and being a trusted lieutenant from John Walsh, Al Pashoka, and Jim Stamas. And I learned about this whole thing called politics from one of the best, in Pete Lund. From my seatmates, I learned to wear earplugs when Margaret O'Brien sits next to you, pitching her physical therapy bill to anyone that walked by. I learned how to put a tether on Clint Custo, and I was reminded of the strength of the Lord when I watched Gary Glenn go through his medical issues. I learned that a hardworking 23-year-old waitress can represent her people well, while a lawyer from Lapeer had no clue how to do the same. I learned that lobbyists aren't evil. They're just salespeople representing their clients. I made some good friends within that group, and I want to thank all of them for advocating their perspective and assisting in the process. Laws are made best and best made when we're methodical, we're well educated on the issues, and we do what we think is right for our state and our community. I learned that votes trump theatrics and solutions beat inaction. Early on, I was facing a tough vote and having trouble sleeping. My son, Nick, who is now in the Navy, saw that something was weighing heavily on my mind and asked what the issue was. I explained that there was a vote coming up that I believed was right, but was going to cause a lot of consternation in the community and perhaps lead me to not getting reelected. Nick quickly and simply stated, "If you are half the father I know you are, you'll do what's right, you'll take the tough vote, and now go to sleep." That conversation guided me for the next 6 years. And from that point on, I've never lost sleep over a vote. You see, I'll be leaving soon, and once again, someone will say, "Hey, Rep. Farrington." Only now they'll be looking for someone else. And I can leave this building a nobody that has much more respect for the institution, the process, and the wonderful people that I've shared the last 6 years with. A nobody that came in, did what thought was right, did my part to make Michigan better. It's been a privilege and it's been an honor. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Representative Farrington.